Welcome back. Today's lesson is going to be on the 13 goals of a witch. The first one is to know yourself. To be able to further yourself in life, to be able to make yourself into the person you want to be, it's incredibly important to know the person you are now. You can't just think of yourself in terms of what you want to be. While it's good and while you need to keep those things in mind, you need to know how you are the way you are now, so you can use your strengths, your talents to your advantage, to either build on or work with your weaknesses, or let them go if it's something that does not work for you in your life. And you need to know your limits and your morals and your ethics, so you don't end up doing something that you might regret later in life. The second one is to know your craft. As witches, it's incredibly important that we know how to cast spells if that's something that we're interested in. If you're going to cast a spell, you need to know the necessary steps that there is in order to make it work. Otherwise it's not going to work, or it might backfire, or what you were trying to manifest in your life isn't going to happen. The third one is to learn. This is obviously very important. Again, not just for witches, but for everybody. We're always learning just by living. Humans learn something new every day. And as witches, it's important that we learn about things not just magical or Wiccan or pagan. It's important to learn about our world, what's going on in other countries, stuff about nature, like how ecosystems work, why things grow and die, if you're interested in herbs, how certain stones form and become the stones that they are now, and so much more. I can't even put everything into words. Just learning is incredibly important, and it's something we need to actively do throughout our whole lives. The fourth is to apply knowledge with wisdom. You can't just learn everything about something through books. In pagan terms, I guess, you can learn about Wicca and how to connect with nature and the god and goddess through books. But if you don't actually experience that and find out what works and what doesn't work for you, you're not going to get as good a results as if you put those practices into your life and actually work through them and with them. That is really what brings about wisdom, because then you know what works and what doesn't for you. The fifth is to achieve balance. This is one of the main Wiccan concepts. We achieve balance through goddess and god, and we also achieve balance through the 4 elements. Using the elements as an example, it's incredibly important that we work with each element and learn from it, because they all have things to teach us. And they all have qualities that are good for us to learn and apply to our lives. So we need to make sure we don't have severe overbalances of certain elements or energies, because that brings about energies that aren't so good for your life. So it's very important to try to balance things in your life, and not just elementally or with pagan speaking. It's important to balance work with fun, with family, with friends. All that stuff needs to be in balance. The sixth one is to keep your thoughts in good order. It's very important to know why you believe what you believe, and to have your thoughts in good order so you know how to articulate what it is that you're trying to say, so that you know why you think the way you think, and so you're not cluttering your mind with meaningless, pointless worries or things like that. It's important to keep the important stuff in there and keep room for important stuff, and keep all the negative stuff out there. The seventh one is to keep your words in good order. This one is especially important. You don't want to, act like a know-it-all and just spew out information when you really don't know what it is that you're talking about. You want to, if you're going to say something, you want it to have meaning. You want it to be correct. And if it's your opinion, then it's correct to you. But if it's factual information, you want to be sure that it's correct. And you don't want to just talk without really thinking about what you're saying. That's how people's feelings get hurt. That's how, again, you come off like a know-it-all. And it's not helpful to just talk for the purpose of talking. What you're saying should have meaning, and you should be saying things for a reason. The 8th one is to celebrate life. Again, very important. With the wheel of the year, we have Sabbats that we celebrate, and that's seen as the cycle of life. But it's important to celebrate every day, really. Every day that you're able to be here and be alive and experience everything that life has to give, even if some of it's not so pleasant. You always learn from things like that, so they do have some value, even though some are not so fun. And it's important to appreciate and celebrate life, because we're not always going to be here. We're not always going to be alive. Someday we will die. So while we're here, it's incredibly important to embrace life and embrace things that make you happy. The 9th is to attune with the cycles of the earth. Again, with the Sabbats, it's very important to be in tune with nature and be in tune with the seasonality of the place that you live, because that's where you live and you have to plan accordingly. Here in Montana, it's the end of April and we're getting rain, which is typical for April, but it's like 40 degrees. It's not very warm yet, and I know in England it's incredibly warm and sunny and everything's green and leafy. We don't have leaves here yet, really. There's a couple of like bushes that I've seen throughout town that have leaves actually popping out of their buds, but otherwise we do not have a lot of leaves yet. So it's very different in different parts of the world, and it's especially important for you to be in tune with your surroundings, with your environment, so you can plan, dress accordingly. The 10th one is to breathe and eat correctly. Eating correctly kind of goes without saying. Your body's your temple, you want to respect it, and therefore you don't want to put in food that harms your body. Breathing correctly, also very important. In yoga, they teach you lots of different things about breathing, because that's a very important aspect of yoga. And a lot of the times people breathe with their chest. If that's what we call anxiety breath. When people breathe through their chest, it tends to make them feel more anxious. You want to breathe with your stomach if you're trying to relax. So breathe in and feel your stomach expand. Feel it kind of poof out. And when you exhale, push that air out with your stomach. That's how you calm down and breathe. And there's full breath, where you fill up the stomach, the chest, the sides, pretty much everything, in one long inhale and exhale, letting it all go. Breathing exercises can be very, very therapeutic and very useful, and can really help you connect with your energy. The 11th is exercise the body. Again, important. If we are just sedentary and just sit around all the time, our bodies are going to deteriorate. In order to make sure our body is functioning correctly, we need to put it into action. We need to put it to work. We need to keep everything toned and in good shape, because when we're older especially, you'll see the effects of that. The 12th is to meditate. Again, it's very important to discipline the mind, especially for Wiccans. If you're going to be doing spells or rituals or anything, you need to be able to visualize, and meditating really helps you discipline the mind, helps you clear it. It depends on the type of meditation you're doing. It can help you connect with the goddess and God. There are several benefits to meditating, so it's very important that we try to implement that into our lives, whether it's daily or at least weekly, or a couple times a week, whatever it is that you can manage. And the last one is to honor the goddess and god. Of course, it's kind of obvious that we should do that. Their divinity. They are what brought us here. They are what brings all life on the earth here. And they are the ones that pretty much take care of us because they provided us this earth. They provide us with the food and the water that we need. And therefore we need to honor them and thank them for that, because without all these things we wouldn't be here. So that is all I have to say about the 13 Goals of a Witch. For homework, I would say go through each one and see what you need to do more of for which ones, if that makes sense. Go through each one and explain to yourself if you are doing this enough in your life, or give yourself ideas of what you could do to improve on certain areas. So thank you for watching, and blessed be.